There are a lot of challenges that newcomers face when they arrive in Canada. They can feel overwhelmed with everything new, language barriers, culture shock, a lack of community, a hit to identity because of the life that they've left behind. When it comes to money specifically, think about it. Newcomers have to learn an entirely different financial system. They have to learn the names of all these organizations, the banks, the credit unions, all that. And they are learning all about a new culture that has tipping, like we tip here. We use credit cards almost everywhere, which can be a real tough thing to navigate when you're used to a system that's based on cash. It can be very challenging earning a consistent and sufficient income when you don't have Canadian work experience, when you don't have a network, maybe you don't have the language skills. And managing expenses can be really, really tough. I mean, it's tough for everybody, but newcomers often need to put additional things into their budget that they didn't bring with them. Like, I know it's a cliche to say you may need a new winter coat, but you may need a new winter coat. Because of all these factors, it can be really tough for newcomers to know who to trust, who should be able to access their data, and what to be aware of when it comes to the scams out there. And there are a lot of risks on that front. Certainly, there's no shortage of resources here. Every single one of the banks has a program that targets newcomers. If you do a search online, look at the bank's name and newcomers, you're going to find both product offers, lots of different product offers, and also some really solid financial literacy tools and information that are relevant to the situation that the newcomers find themselves in. And banks do this for a couple of reasons. First, of course, they want to do the right thing. Of course, they want to be good corporate citizens. And at the same time, newcomers is a big market segment. And as most of us know, once you choose a bank, you tend to stay with that bank for a long period of time. Now, credit is a really big deal. Getting a credit card is a really big deal. And there's lots of programs targeted towards newcomers. They can typically apply for and get a low limit card, or at the very least a secured card, which is where you put like $500 on the balance and then you can spend that off over time. One of the challenges for newcomers has been that credit histories don't cross borders very well. So even if you had a great credit score in your home country, it doesn't really help you because you can't put it in your suitcase. There are two areas in which that is changing very, very quickly. First, programs that are helping newcomers bring over their credit history. The first big one came from Nova Credit, and they're working with a number of big Canadian financial institutions to make it easier for people to bring that credit history over. The second and more recent one comes from Equifax, the credit bureau. And this is particularly important for things like loans and mortgages, right? Where the stakes are so much higher. The second area where there has been progress is approving credit based on something other than just the credit score. It's called cash flow approval. And so lenders are increasingly able to look at income and expenses through the lens of a bank statement to see if the newcomers can support the different loan payments. Now, one of the core skills that everybody needs to learn how to do is budgeting. It's a big challenge figuring out that piece of the puzzle. And now there is a new budgeting app out there. It is called Butterfly. Comes from Credit Canada, which of course is the nonprofit agency where I happen to work. This app was designed by newcomers for newcomers with an objective to build their financial confidence. It's designed to feel like a conversation, like you're going to be asked and then answer a series of questions about you, your circumstance, your family makeup, your income, your expenses. And in about 15 minutes, you're going to have created a very basic budget that will illustrate whether or not you've got a surplus or a deficit. And there's a whole bunch of resources and helpful tips along the way as you go through it. Butterfly includes expenses that are most relevant to newcomers, like sending money back home. That's a real thing for a newcomer, and yet no one's asking that question and where that fits in their budget. The app also uses data to provide customized insight relevant to the family size and the city that you're moving to. So for example, based on your family size and you're moving to this city, the average rent is going to be $2,000 or whatever. Butterfly also converts the budget results from the Canadian dollar to any currency. So you can convert it to the currency in your country of origin, which I know I lived in another country for a while. It was really helpful, especially in that first year, to be able to do the mental math in a currency that I knew well. It's kind of like translating Fahrenheit to Celsius for a lot of us. Butterfly is available in Hindi, Spanish, English, and French, and it doesn't require the user to link any bank accounts, which for newcomers can be really important as they figure out, who are they supposed to be trusting. You can find out all about Butterfly at budgetbutterfly.ca. budgetbutterfly.ca, and it is completely free to sign up and use. Now, one of the other areas that is a huge challenge for newcomers is finding a job. And yeah, there's tons of resources out there. Some are nonprofit, some are hyper local, some are national in scope, some are government, some are connected to particular employers or to those job search websites. But there's a new one that I want to highlight, just released. It is a virtual career coach, and it was created by a nonprofit called PeaceGeeks. PeaceGeeks has a mission to use technology for social good, and their career coach is driven by artificial intelligence. It helps you search for jobs, practice for your interview, and assess your skills. I did the practice interview, and it's conducted all over text, and I chose a specific job to interview for, and then it asks you an interview question. I then answered that question, and I got two things. One was some feedback on my answer, like, how about this, how about that, like constructive interview feedback. But secondly, it suggested some behaviors that would be expected in a Canadian work context, which was really helpful. If you didn't spend your whole life working here, there's some nuance that you would not have. The AI behind it is really pretty incredible. So that virtual career coach is free, and that's at peacegeeks.org. Now, we mentioned budgeting. A lot of newcomers live on a very tight budget. So I, again, would talk about Budget Butterfly because it has a framework, a 3-step process: analyze, brainstorm, and change. So newcomers can, put that information in there on income and expenses, analyze what's going on, and then brainstorm some ways to increase income or cut expenses before they then commit to making a change to their budget. And why I bring that up is, yeah, you need to make sure you've got some food in the fridge and a roof over your head, but we also want people to enjoy their life. And when you're really pressed to make ends meet, it can be exceedingly difficult. So I have one last resource that I want to talk about. It is called Canoo, C-A-N-O-O, Canoo. And it comes from the Institute for Canadian Citizenship. So this app, or this pass, Canoo Pass, is for newcomers in their first 5 years of getting their Canadian permanent resident status. And it's super simple. You log on, and then you're eligible for discounts at a huge number of places from coast to coast to coast. So like in Cape Breton, the Cosset House Museum; in Toronto, the ROM and the AGO; in Montreal, the Montreal Holocaust Museum; in Vancouver, Science World. So a whole list. You just go to wherever you get your apps, so App Store, Google Play, wherever, and download Canoo, C-A-N-O-O. It is Financial Literacy Month. Financial Literacy Month. And this year, I wanted to put a very special focus on some of the new resources out there. So that is Butterfly, of course, the budgeting app for newcomers. It is PeaceGeeks, the virtual career coach for newcomers, and Canoo, discounts for newcomers. Check them out.